So my dad is one of 11. My mum is one of 5.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, they didn't have much. So they lived a life in the Philippines, which in the 40s, 50s, 60s, it was pretty underdeveloped. It wasn't westernized. It is getting there now, so that's great. But back then, I would hear stories of my father growing up with a tablespoon of peanut butter and it's a piece of bread to share for the whole family. My dad's father passed away when he was 3, and his mother passed away when he was like 18, 19 in university. And you really get a baseline as to what difficult really looks like. And I say that because, we live in a world where everything gets delivered to you. I personally, depending on which part of the world you live in, but, if you're from a westernized world, I'm from Australia, you can work in McDonald's and still earn 3 times, 4 times more than someone working in a sort of office job in the Philippines, for example, right? So growing up for them, it was survival, and they used platforms like education to really separate themselves to create opportunity. So my dad ended up finishing marine transportation and mechanical engineering, 2 bachelor's degrees. My mom is one of 5, as I mentioned, but she had a whole other bag of stuff as well. Like my mom's father was not really ever around, and he was a womanizer, and he worked in the military, and he was violent when he was home. And my mom was in the middle of 5, as I said, and my grandma, my mom's mom, had her first child when she was 16. And so my grandma, my mom's side, she had a little corner store. She would sell a carton of milk, divide it into small bags, and sell that. So she would, sell probably like 15 to 20 units out of one small carton of milk, and that's the life. And she would have a sewing machine, and she would make use of that. She would dressmake and learn how to make clothes and provide that service for the community. So she was a real entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
And so the heartbreaking thing as well was when we migrated to Australia, Sydney, it was difficult to sort of obviously move from a country where your friends and family are there, but more than that, just like the financial side of things as well, and stability and where you're going to get income. Like they basically migrated to Australia and their degrees were not recognized. So, my dad graduating marine transportation, mechanical engineering in one of the top universities in the Philippines, it was not recognized in Australia. And so he had to work at a factory and raise 3 kids on a factory salary, which was back then it was like 18,000 Australian as well. So it was probably like, I don't know, 12,000 US. Like it was just, it's tough, but like you never saw my dad complain.
Right.
Like he just got on with it. And so how has that shaped me? Well, my version of hard is probably a little different to someone who hasn't experienced that. Now, I'm not saying it's any better or worse. I'm just saying that it's different.
Yeah.
And at the time, you don't look at it as great, though. You look at it as, why do people have more stuff than I do? Like,
right.
Why am I less well off? I wouldn't say I was poor, but I would just say that we didn't have money. Like, it was just plain and simple.
Right.
But we had a lot of love, and we had a lot of, Filipino culture is very rich in like community and, sharing and coming together over very big, long meals. And
kind of like Italians.
Yeah, totally. Lots of laughter and a lot of like everyone's like feels like you're related to each other, and so there was a lot of love growing up. One thing that I'll share, Christy, is I remember this one time we were in our small apartment. My mum was cooking spaghetti, and I would collect empty tissue boxes and toilet paper rolls and build cities and robots, and I would just get stuff to create stuff. And then my mum said, as she was cooking, "Hey Ram, what do you want to be when you grow up?" And I said, as I was a bit distracted and making stuff, and I don't know, Mum, I just want to make stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then she stopped cooking and put her hand on my shoulder and said, Ram, look, whatever you decide you want to be, just make sure you dream big. Make sure you dream much, much bigger. And so I remember that, and I was 4 years old.
Wow.
And then why am I telling you that story? Well, the importance of encouraging a child to be allowed to dream, number one, but to exercise curiosity, to encourage exploration, to encourage challenging your potential. So anytime I did something, like I was interested in something, again, and this is just great parenting, and that was the gift that they gave me. It was, I felt like I never was suppressed. I never felt that I had to like conform to anyone's version of success, or they never held me back. And I think it's very important when we talk about how do you navigate professional, personal life and life as a whole, because fast forward to now, right? So I've written 2 books, I've toured the world, speaking around the world, 65 plus events, some of the biggest stages. I've launched a podcast that's number 3 on iTunes for design. I've interviewed the likes of Kelly Slater, 11-time World Surf Champ, right through to gold medalists, to Shark Tank investors. Mr. Wonderful Kevin O'Leary is one of them. Founders and creators, Matt Mullenweg, founder of WordPress, global heads of Nike, Deloitte, Visa. Like I've been able to reach professional success, right? But and mind you, 16 years in the design and creative industry, I've come through Ogilvy. My last role was head of digital design at Saatchi & Saatchi, servicing Amex, Qantas, Toyota. Previously, I was design director at DDB, servicing McDonald's, Audi, a whole bunch of brands, and had built such success in my professional career. But somewhere along the line, you realize climbing up that ladder of success, was it leaning against the wrong wall, or is it leaning against the wrong wall? And it's a question I always ask myself. And so now, I try to really keep my feet on the, sure, keep your head in the clouds, but keep your feet on the ground. Don't let the highs take you too high, and don't let the lows take you too low. So about halfway through my career, I had established and reached seniority levels about 8 years into my design career. And I just felt numb. It was a pretty scary feeling, because you've hustled your way to get there. And now you've established yourself, where the hard part is actually entering the industry, design or otherwise. It's always hard to get off the couch and you're starting in any field. But I found it very, very difficult to start penetrating, getting a job. Design is such a saturated field. And when I did manage to navigate my way through, I started to feel empty about 8 years in, and I started to get a bit sort of, I don't know, just questioning like how I define that, what you said, what you pulled out from that, climbing up that ladder of success, is it leaning against the wrong wall? What I mean by that is, have I fully gone down my own truth barrel? Is this the fullness of my gifts expressed? Have I expressed it fully? And so then I started asking myself questions like, did you really become a designer just to design for banks and insurance companies and cars and like enterprise brands? And you're like, no. And then you go, well, why did you become a designer? Well, to reverse engineer desired outcomes, to problem solve, to inject creativity and efficiency and innovation in the world, to, that's why I became a designer. And so then you start going, well, can that be applied elsewhere? And so that's really what it is. So I started looking for ways with which I can serve, and then that's when the blog came to fruition. It was literally just serving through writing articles about how I wish someone would have told me this when I was starting out. So that was the seed.
Mm-hmm.
And literally like 2 people were reading it the first week I launched my blog, my mum and my sister, confirmed by Google Analytics. But you know,
Gotta love
3 months, right? But 3 months in, it got picked up by Google's wonderful spiders or whatever, and it organically started to get exposed, got picked up by How Magazine, Communication Arts, whole bunch. And then AIGA, the American Institute of Design, found out, and they contacted me and said, hey, we want to speak to you, if ever you're in New York or I go, well, actually I've got family friends in America. I'm in LA twice a year, so I'll swing by to New York next time. So a few months in from that point, I found myself in Madison Square Avenue in these grand red chairs looking over this amazing city. And then there's the president of AIGA, and I'm gifting them with Tim Tams in this meeting, but I thought it was pretty informal. So tell us, how are you engaging with an audience that we're struggling to engage with? And then I said, mate, he said, what's your strategy? And I was like, mate, I don't have a strategy. I said, I'm just writing to my younger self. And then he said, would you like to write for us? And I said, yeah, of course. So then I started writing for them. I started getting exposure. I came back to Australia and I was like, wow, this blog thing's doing all right. What's the next thing? And I said to myself, well, what's better than a blog? Well, a book. A book commands a certain level of attention that's not so disposable as a blog is. 9 months in, I had a manuscript called How to Get a Job as a Designer. I approached 20 different publishers and sponsors. They all rejected me. Critical part of the story, because I was like, well, what do you do? I ended up working a few more jobs. Basically decided to self-publish. AIGA were like, wow, we'd love to host you for an event. For a speaking tour. We've got 72 chapters across the country. So I ended up basically doing a USA tour, and so launched my speaking career.
So you did self-publish?
I did, yeah. And ended up on Creative Live after that first tour, which is the world's largest online learning platform. They got me to do 2 classes. Imagine small studio audience, 5 cameras in your face. And after I did the first segment, the producer said, hey, Ram, there's 10,000 people watching you live right now. And so in tandem with the career, I also had a lot of side hustles, which ended up becoming businesses. And, I was... a critical part, Christy, I was bullied in school. I broke my arm 3 times and got 16 stitches before the age of 11.
Because
I was always
bullying?
From bullying, yeah. Yeah, I was severely bullied. Yeah. And
hold on, I'm going to go back to that for a second. I want to go back.
Yeah, go for it.
So, because that was going to be my, what was school like for you? And so, but before the age of 11, you had your arm broke 3 times.
3 times, yeah. And 16 stitches. Obviously, those students, they got suspended and then eventually expelled and stuff. They could only do so much. But, I mean, I don't know what to say. I felt scared. I felt afraid. I was, fortunately, I had great friends. And goes back to parenting. My parents, I don't know how else to put it. I mean, I just kept going. What's the alternative? Right. In my mind, I just didn't feel that there was an alternative. And right. It definitely has shaped me to be the man I am today. Uh-huh. Because mind you, I was the shortest in primary school. I was the second shortest in high school. I was never the most wealthy, as I said. I was never the most intelligent or gifted or athletic. I was always chosen in the B or C grade of every sport. But I guess my parents just had so much love that it overpowered everything. They just had so much love for me. And they just led with example. They just showed me how to be by just being. They showed me how to respect by respecting. Like I don't know, I can't break it down into a specific thing, but like the thing that got me through it was, you know, they basically they didn't baby me, or they didn't like spoon feed me. Like they fully trusted me to make my own decisions. It was so profound, actually, now that I think of it. Like I was an active kid as well. Like I would like jump, climb trees and jump off roofs. Like I was also very active. So, but like they just never worried. They just trusted. I mean, firstly, they've got deep faith. Filipinos are Catholic, and I mean that might hold substance, that might not to anyone listening. But you know, they had faith. They had faith, and they just trusted that everything was going to be okay. And so that's important, because it shaped me to really choose your hard. And I find that there's a lot of people who actually avoid hard. In my mind, I view it like this, Christy. Everything is hard, and you just have to choose which hard that's worth pursuing. Yeah. Jim Carrey says it best. There's a commencement speech for those listening. You can Google it. But Jim Carrey commencement speech, in a university in South Africa, and I think it's in South Africa. But he says this one line. It always resonated with me. He said, "You can fail at what you don't love, so you might as well go for what you love." So I have a strong thought about this, which is, it's under the umbrella of exposure and conditioning. I don't know why my mind ended up thinking this way. Again, I'm not too sure, but I always just thought, like, collect your losses, because it's also a numbers game, right? So I'm a big believer in planting seeds, and you never know which one's going to blossom. So when all of that connects with failure, I always think, like, you either succeed or you learn. And the only time, as cheesy as it sounds, and you hear a lot of people saying, but it's true, like the only time you really fail is if you give up. Like, you know, and I'm just,
it's not cheesy at all.
Yeah, because it's like this, right? Like, well, I've experienced it myself, but I've also seen patterns in some of the most successful people in the world. Let's pull out Elon Musk, for example, right? In fact, anyone really groundbreaking and who are pioneers in their field, there's one common pattern. They always had enormous challenges. They always were ridiculed and judged and criticized. They were not accepted. And at the beginning.
Crazy.
Right? And so it's kind of like that. Like I always just go, like, the stories, you might feel like, and in fact, Gary Vaynerchuk says it quite nicely as well. He says that you might feel like you haven't progressed, but you're just early. You're just early on the journey. And so this kind of ties in with that thought, which is not just pay your dues, but give it time. Right. One of my mentors and beloved friend, Debbie Millman, who owns the Design Matters podcast, and very renowned in the industry as well. She said it when I interviewed her. She said, the longer it takes, the longer it will last, and the more that you'll be prepared for the success when it comes. And so when we talk about failure, there's a few things to that. You know, is it really? Because if you learned something, it's an experience that has shaped you to be the person you are. And so the question is, like, can you do more of that? Because you know, if more knowledge, and there's a saying which cracks me up. It's something like, if more knowledge and more information was the answer, then we'd all be doctors with six-pack abs. Through high school, So I went to a Catholic school, all boys, but it was joined to a all girls school. So we did have some interaction, but the thing that really stands out to me was that, like, the high school that I went to was quite strict. And like, you had to wear your blazer, your tie, your shirt was, if your shirt wasn't tucked in, you would go get detention. If you had too much hair product in your hair, you would have Saturday detention. Like, it was strict. But the thing that I loved about it was, I think, well, we had a great grade. We had a very, I think we got lucky. Everyone in our grade was respectful despite the diverse backgrounds and interests we all had. I didn't get bullied in that school, but like in certain parties, it continued, because then other people were there, and it's just like, it got sort of rough as well. And I mean, for me, the thing that really got me through it was I had great teachers.
Uh-huh.
I really believe I had great teachers who respected our points of view. The program and the curriculum in Australia was, I felt it was quite good in terms of us self-selecting certain programs and courses and subjects and what have you. I always gravitated towards art. I was also very fascinated about ancient history. I was in general maths and general English. That was fine. I got by. But art really saved my life. Like, you know, I could just be myself. So I would suggest anyone that, you know, is still in an exploratory stage, just like, really, it's not that trivial. Mm-hmm. Do you enjoy it? You don't need to question too much why. Right. Just see what can come of it. So I think, like, we just need to do more playing and exploration in no matter what stage you're in. You know, really, it's more about what really lights you up. What is the state with which you feel you are most fulfilled? Now, for some people, that is security, certainty, you know, just being on your own. For others, it's being around many people. For others, it's spontaneity. For others, it's adventure. But whatever it is for you, for me, it's creativity and it's community, for sure. And having meaningful conversation. I love that. Yes. Like, that's for me a big one. So whatever it is for you, because all of these things that we're talking about, the subject, the school, the friends, the people, the place, the things, the job, the activity, the sport, the extracurricular interests that you might have, like, they're all just vehicles that hold what matters to us, in my mind anyway. So lean more in to what you are interested in.
Right.
Like, there's the saying, like, why do you want to be like everyone else? Like, everyone else is taken. Like, just be you. There's only one of you. And when I say that, I literally mean, like, all of you, no matter what your background is, cultural heritage, no matter if you have, like, some type of disability. Like, that's your superpower. You don't see it yet. But it is. A lot of people out there, like, oh, how do I, you know, make something of myself? It's like, you are already. You are. It's just that you're looking for validation, and they are vanity metrics in the world. We came in the world with nothing, naked and afraid, and we will leave the world with nothing. So, like, at the end of the day, whether or not, it's like this, people are going to have an opinion of us anyway.
Right.
Whether you do something or not, people will still have an opinion of you. And so we might as well just push forward with what you feel. Whoever's listening here, just push forward with what you feel is aligned with you at this time, because things can change too, and what you want might change as well. And you're allowed to do whatever you want, to feel, to dream, to pursue. So I think sometimes we get ahead of ourselves and we don't actually live in the present moment. You know, don't rush. The journey is the success.
Right.
It's like this. Who is more fulfilled? The person that's trained for 3 months and then climbed up the mountain for 3 days and then arrived at the peak, or the person that just gets plonked on there with a helicopter. Right. I think I'm just, as you were speaking, I was just thinking about, because we were talking about the high school thing as well, and I was just thinking, you know, now that I am where I am, and if I speak to my high school self, what would I say to my high school self? And one thing that comes to mind is like, trust in the process, and really focus on mastery. And what I mean by that is like, so many people try things and then give up, and they haven't given it enough time to really get a good sample size or sample set of going, am I actually good at that? You know, we want results, that's why, and we want acknowledgement, gratification, instant gratification rather, like so quickly. It's even for myself, like I'm like, I post this content, I'm like, oh, you know, how come, where's the response, right? And like, we've got to steer away from that being actually the metric of impact. But what I really want to hone in on is when I spoke to Stephanie Rice, 3-time gold medalist swimmer, 5-time world record holder, she said anyone can be a 3-time gold medalist, 5-time world record holder. And I was like, okay, where's this going? Right. She said, anyone can. She said, if you're willing to pay the price, if you're willing to train 7 hours a day, every day, including the dietary stuff, which is 24 hours, and the sleep, and to forego social activities, whatever, you're just dead set on focused on this for like 15 years. She said, anyone can do it. And I love that because everyone's human. That's the thing. And when we look at people who we praise in public, this is what I say in a lot of my talks, the people that we praise in public have spent years and years, decades in fact, working on their craft, mastering it in private. So for anyone listening, don't get lost in the feed. It's a filtered feed. Yeah. Right? The people who you admire and look up to are working behind the scenes 10x more than what we see. We see the finished product. We don't see, it's like the mountain image, the famous mountain image, or the iceberg, and then underneath it's like 5 times more deep underneath. There's a lot more under the surface. I studied it at a design college, tertiary education, but not a bachelor's degree. Okay. So, I mean, first you went from being bullied in elementary school to breaking your arm 3 times. Then you went to high school, had a bit of a better situation, but still being bullied. Okay. Then you went to study at this college. Design college, yeah. And so then what happened? So interesting thing though with the design college thing, like my parents couldn't afford to take me to the design college that I really wanted. And so I applied madly for different scholarships, and then I managed to get the same course but at a no-name college. It wasn't even known for design. Luckily I was able to do that. After that I took a job in the mail room at Ogilvy. Critical thing, because people thought I was crazy. They're like, why you graduated under scholarship and you're so talented, and they were like, you know, why would you graduate and just go to get a mailroom job? And I was like, why not? And I was like, the first week I met 350 people over 4 levels who are working on the biggest accounts in the world: Coca-Cola, Sprite, Dove, Amex. I'm like, and being in the mailroom, I get to know them one-on-one. I mean, I just didn't see it the way that others did. Right. I don't know why. I just understood what it meant to pay your dues.
Mm-hmm.
to work, to not be given it, but to work for it, because I found fulfillment in learning.
Right.
I found fulfillment in climbing, and I still do. I love it. Put me in a freaking, I love it. I love the hustle. I genuinely love challenges, because that's where I grow. That's why I don't see living in any other way. I don't see it being given to you. What do you get from that? I don't understand.
Nothing. I mean,
So,
yeah.
so there I am, mailroom, and then I started my exposure to this thing called networking, and then I started to build my my career through the people first, and then started to learn a little bit about being around agency, corporate world structures and ways of working and ideas and strategy. And I started learning a lot of stuff just by being there. I was like a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
And I had so many mentors by being in that place. And we're talking Ogilvy, which is one of the biggest ad agencies in the world. Like, it is not a small company. And then I got my foot in the door and junior designer. Yeah.
You did. It really and truly is. If young people today, or even adults today, could get that I'm entitled off of their shoulder, and that's beneath me, and so I'm not going to do it, because what you did, you put yourself in the exact place that you wanted to be. You may have had to take a lower paying job, but you did that, and it ended up getting you networking with the people that you wanted to be in the game with.
I would have gotten paid more working as a manager in McDonald's, honestly. But here's the other thing, Christy. We've got to look at things as not permanent. Too many people make decisions thinking that it's permanent. No, it's not. It's temporary. And that's the power of looking long term. And this is just a critical, practical tip for anyone listening. If you feel that you're overwhelmed or this and that, zoom out. Just tell yourself that. Zoom out. Literally look at your life, not in the next day or week or month or year. Zoom out. And in the grander scheme of things, you had a fight with your friend, or, you didn't get this job opportunity, or, you're crawling your way out of debt. Like, honestly, all of these things have to be put in perspective. There is a way out. There is, there's that rule, 10-10-10. It's like, does this matter in the next 10 minutes? Does this matter in the next 10 months? Does this matter in the next 10 years? Something like that, right? Perspective from a zoomed out time point of view. But also I want to point out that, like, in terms of the entitlement thing, like, I coach a lot of people, from students right through to global heads and leaders, right? And business owners and a whole bunch. But there's this one student who said to me, Ram, I'm in a dilemma, and we unpacked it. She basically had 3 job offers for one of the three top, easily, top 3 design firms in Sydney. And I said, oh, great. Like, you wanting consultation to prepare yourself for the interview? And she goes, no, I declined them all. And I was like, why? And she said this, she said, well, all of them said I have to start sort of like just in an admin role, and, predominantly I'll be getting coffees for people, answering the phone, ordering stationery, like, and that's just an example of what I'm saying. Like, we've got to remove ourselves from operating in one currency. The currency is not the likes, the follows, the money. I did a talk at a creative festival here, and I titled it, "Don't aim to make $1 million, aim to help 1 million people."
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, when you put people over profit, the money does come.
Mm-hmm.
And I've experienced this myself firsthand, right? And Christy, you're nodding, so you get it. So, like, the reality is, zoom out, play the long game, be patient, enjoy the journey, learn, gather, mold yourself inside. because these are the things, these are the currencies that a lot of people don't play in.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at the greats of the world, from the Michael Jordans right through to the Madonnas, right through to the Lady Gagas, right through to whoever, to Elon Musk's, you know, Jeff Bezos from Amazon, like all these people have a great vision of what their version of a better world looks like. And they've been able to hone in on what they believe they can contribute and serve the world in, right? It's like this. A fish would be a terrible tree climber.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that. So what is your gift?
Right.
And a lot of the times we almost like we don't go for the thing we really want. We go for the things around what we want. And then so guess what? You get it. You get the thing that you kind of wanted.
Mm-hmm.
If you go for things that you really, really want, like if I would you rather, for those listening, say, fine, I want to be an NBA basketball player, and say that, because what happens is two things. You know what to say yes to, you know what to say no to. So if you were to say an audacious goal like that, and I get it, and it's going to require work, you're still better off than saying that. I think I'm interested in sport. Pick the sport and go for it. Don't hold back. One life, let's go, right? So the thing is, if you go for that, the path to progress actually becomes clear, because people in your position have done likely what you want to do. There's someone that exists that has done what you want.
Mm-hmm.
They have a blueprint.
Right.
I just think that we need to make more intentional decisions, but what happens is we suppress them. So you have a plan B and your plan C, and then plan D, next minute you've got plan E, and then it's like you never really committed to plan A.
Right.
And you didn't give it the time, and you didn't nurture that seed. Mm-hmm. Don't dig up seeds before you plant, like right after you plant them.
Mm-hmm.
So again, don't dig up the seeds right after you plant them. You know, we got to put in the effort, because I don't want that to be, you know, dismissed here. You know, not that it is, but just I really want to highlight that you got to put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to really also be honest with yourself and give yourself the permission. None of this, do I deserve this? Do I, you know, other people are more credible. It's like, if there's a top 1%, the question is, why can't it be you?